So you're doing $300,000 to $1 million in revenue and you hit a pain point. This pain point, things get hard. You're trying to delegate and some of it's working and some of it isn't. You start to get stretched thin. You might be working overtime. The things that you're doing are creating revenue, but you're going, oh my gosh, is this ever going to end as far as the workload and the time? How can I finally break free? Well, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the third level in my entrepreneur growth levels, which is the pain line of delegation and the identity of performer. We're going to dive into this pain line 3. And in pain line 3, this is a really, really common one because once you start to get your business to any level of growth, you finally started to get some revenue happening. You finally figured out that business model. If we look back into levels 1 and 2 of the business growth levels, we start to then discover that, hey, we figured out a basic revenue model, one market, one product, one marketing channel, and now things are working a little bit. We crossed over the $300,000 mark, which is amazing. That's bigger than most businesses will ever get. But the challenge at this phase that you're going to experience might be one of the biggest challenges you face in all of entrepreneurship. Okay, the 300,000 to $1 million. Getting to $1 million in revenue is not easy. It's really, really, really hard. In my previous companies before Carrot, we hit this pain line. We hit the 300,000 to $1 million pain line, and we were kind of stuck around $400,000, $450,000, $500,000 a year in revenue for 3 or 4 years. Now, it's a great spot, right? I'm not going to complain about that. That was a great spot. You know, as a business owner, I had an amazing business partner, Patrick, during that time. This is 2008 through 2012, and we were 50-50 business partners. I did the marketing and kind of creating the offers and really ran the business, and he was the expert. He was the person out there teaching and other things like that. And at the end of the day, it's a really high profit margin business. You know, your businesses at this level are going to be usually pretty high profit margin. And we were probably net profiting around 60, 70, 80% after everything because it was us. It was us and then one person that was helping us do some of the work on the assistant side. And we were able to net, into the 6 figures per year each. And that was really, really cool. The challenge that came up though, guys, in 2010, I remember lying in my bed at 10 a.m. in the morning. My wife had gone to work and we just had our first child in 2010, McKinley. She's 13 years old today. And she was at the babysitter's because I was supposed to be working that day. I was supposed to be working. It was a weekday. And I owned this business and I owned several other businesses as well because I got into a phase I'm going to talk about here in a second called the 3-year turn and burn cycle. There will be an entire YouTube video here on this channel about the 3-year turn and burn cycle. But right around this phase is when I was about 3 years into this business. The initial thing that was driving me forward, the initial thing that was driving me, to be a dreamer in the first place, I didn't want to go get a job. That initial motivation was no longer in front of me anymore because I had gotten away from having to get a job. I finally stayed away from that pain like we talk about the vision is in level 2 of the growth levels, okay? And now what I wanted to do is like, well, how do I now move towards purpose? Because I was away from that initial pain, but I hadn't learned how to move towards what was next. What is pulling me forward? What is my purpose and why I want to continue to grow in the first place? And so I was sitting there making pretty good money as a mid-20-something-year-old kid, feeling empty, feeling like at 10 a.m., I did not want to get up in the morning to do the work in the very business I had created for myself. And you might be feeling the same darn dynamic. You might be 2, 3, 4 years into that business, making somewhere between 300,000 and $1 million in revenue. And you're going, I thought when I hit this revenue mark, things were going to get better. I thought maybe they're better in these areas, but man, I thought the clouds were going to part, the angels were going to sing, everything was just going to get better. And you might be pulling back and going, a lot of what I'm doing in my work right now drains my energy. I don't see an end in sight to not doing all of this work. So therefore, I'm going to do one of the 3 S's that we talk about here on the Entrepreneur Freedom Formula, which is I'm going to inadvertently sabotage, right? I'm going to deliver these projects late or avoid these emails or avoid these phone calls and do these things. I know we're going to drive the business forward, but I also know it's going to create more pain, okay? Or you're going to settle. You're going to go, man, I don't know, maybe I should just dial it back and rather than doing 500,000 a year, what if I just had a really high profit margin, just me making 250, 300,000 a year? That was a little bit better back then. Okay, or the third S, once again, is sell, which that usually comes up later. But you can sell a business now that's doing between 300,000 and $1 million. It's sellable if it's making profit. So we might then slide into that and get distracted in that 3-year turn and burn cycle and say, this is painful. I don't know how to grow through this phase. I'm going to walk you through how to grow through it in this video. And therefore, let me get distracted with a new business. And that's what I kept doing during that phase. I would go start a new business. I'd invest in another company over here. And what happened with my main business, I took my eye off of the ball with that main business, and it made it harder, and made it harder, and it made it harder. Okay, guys, so we're going to dive into this level 3. Level 3, like I said, the pain line in level 3 is what I call the delegation pain line. Okay, the pain line in level 2 is the time management pain line. If you want access to my entire business growth levels matrix, there should be a link below here on the YouTube video in the description. Or just go to carrot.com. Go to trevormauch.com. That's trevormauch.com/freedom. That's trevormauch.com/freedom, and get my entire entrepreneur freedom formula graphic and the entire business growth levels graphic as well. Okay. So in level 2, it's time management. Level 1, the pain line is mindset. Okay. So we've escaped that initial mindset pain line. As a dreamer, we made something work, and now 100 to 300,000 a year in revenue. It's time management because you're doing everything. There's not enough revenue to be able to hire a full-time employee. You start to kind of master some of those personal productivity habits in that pain line, and you really go full-time. You make it full-time. Okay, now you're full-time here, and you've gotten a little bit better at the time management, a little bit better at those things, but now you're going, there's so many things to do. How do I do them all? And now you're forced to learn how to delegate. Companies that cannot learn how to work through others effectively or delegate effectively, you get stuck at 300,000 to $1 million. You might get over 300,000 a little bit. You might get to $500,000. You might get to 750, but you're going to get stuck. You will not be able to grow any further because the pain will push you back into what you're comfortable with in the previous stages. Okay. So the identity that we need to step into in this phase, the identity that gets us from 300,000 to $1 million, is no longer the rugged individualist identity. We can't just go out there and just say, okay, I got it. Everything's on my shoulders. I'm just going to put my head down and work. We have to be the performer in something that we're really, really good at that gives us energy and drives the business forward. Okay, we need to figure out what is our unique ability, the thing that gives us energy, we could be world class at, and drives the business forward. It produces for your business. And we need to spend as much time as possible sitting in that performer identity. You doing sales really well. You doing marketing really, really well. You doing this craft really, really, really well. And you just honing in and learning and learning and learning. But in order for you to do that, that means we have to delegate. You have to delegate some of those things that are draining your energy, especially the things that are draining your energy and make you money. And during this phase, that's what I had to learn is you have to recognize the things you need to replace yourself in. You need to replace yourself in. You need to replace yourself in the things that drive your business forward and earn you money. And those are oftentimes the very hardest things to replace. And oftentimes people get stuck here because they don't do that, because you are the good sales rep, because you are the great marketer, and you're going, I don't think anyone else can do any of these things. And how am I going to stop doing these things if they're the things that make the business money, right? In 2016 with Carrot. I was about 2.5, 3 years into that business with Carrot. And I was, we were around that $1 million mark. Okay. We were at the top end of level 3 or right at the bottom of level 4. I can't remember exactly where, but it was close. And I remember really vividly a similar type of experience from 2010 where I was laying there, but I was fired up about my work at this point. I was in a spot where we were cranking good, consistent revenue. I felt purpose about my work, but I had no time. Okay, because I had delegated some things. I had 4 or 5 employees at that time. But what I did not know how to do was delegate or replace myself in the things that actually drained my energy but drove the business forward. I got good at delegating tasks that I just didn't want to do in the first place, right? It was some HR tasks or my email or following up on these things over here or whatever it is, things that drained my energy and didn't drive the business forward measurably. Those are easy to delegate. I mastered that early. What I didn't master early, and this is what held me back, was the replacement part of it. Okay. And so this is 2016. I had been doing these long format blog posts with Carrot because one of the things that we're really good at with Carrot is helping our clients, thousands of clients across the United States and North America, rank really, really well to attract leads, their ideal prospects, whether it's a motivated house seller or a cash buyer or an HVAC company is looking for a homeowner who needs some repairs in their HVAC, right? We help you to make amazing content, get it ranked really well, and get the best leads. Well, we actually ate our own dog food. We did that work. And I was writing these really long format articles that worked well. They ranked really well. Our clients found them. They turned into customers. But I can tell you, taking 4 or 5 hours to write these 3,000 word articles that brought us revenue drained my energy. I would try to avoid it. And therefore, when I came close to the deadlines of publishing those on Tuesdays, Brendan on my team would hit me up on Monday night or on Monday and say, I haven't got the draft yet, Trevor. And I'd say, I'll get it to you. And I would literally stay up until 2, 3 in the morning that night before writing the article, and I'd hit publish. And it was like that for over a year. So one morning I did that thinking, man, I'm just doing this. It's not impacting my family. I can handle less sleep for a season while we're building the company. And we went on a family trip over to my parents about 2.5 hours southeast of here where we live here in Roseburg, Oregon. And in the middle of the day, I was awake one second and the next second I wasn't. I fell asleep. My 3 young kids in the back seat, my wife in the passenger seat, she was reading a road I'd driven on 1,000,000 times up in the mountains in the Cascade Mountain Range, winding roads with ravines down the side. And just like in a movie, I literally woke up right before hitting the guardrail. I saw the guardrail. I saw the gap in the guardrail above. Later, I saw that there was a gap behind me about 300 yards. Woke up just in enough time to swerve the wheel. The car brushed up against the guardrail. I stopped dead in the middle of the highway, and my wife's like, what happened? And I said, I fell asleep. I need you to drive. I got out, switched, and I hadn't driven in a family trip for probably 6 to 8 months after that. What I did, though, is what matters. I realized I didn't know how to replace myself in the things so I could be the performer at the things I'm truly good at that give me energy. So I went back and wrote down the list. I took my energy audit. And I wrote down the list. And take my energy audit, guys. Go to carrot.com/energy. That's carrot.com/energy to get my 1-page energy audit and a training on how to use it. But I took the energy audit that I created, and I found that writing these long format blog posts were the very thing that I needed to replace myself in. So I asked myself, how do I step away from this thing that is truly the thing that is driving our business forward? But if I keep doing it, it's going to kill me and or my family in that case. And so the next 6 weeks, I just documented in detail how I do these, how I research the articles, how I would write them, how I would optimize them. I would give examples of ones that performed well and show heat maps and all kinds of stuff. And I went out there and said, I need to find someone better than me at this, someone better than me at this thing. And I found the guy. That guy worked for me for a year or two. He ended up becoming the editor-in-chief of the Shopify Plus blog directly after working with me. And he took that process, executed it, and it was amazing. It helped us continue to drive revenue. What I did was then I replaced it with something that gave me energy, that was within my unique ability, that really moved towards purpose. Okay, so the reason I tell you that story is once I did that, growth unlocked again. We flew past the $1 million mark, went from 1 million to 3 crazy quickly, and we'll walk through some of those learnings along the way. Okay, so that identity, though, is performer. What is it that you are amazingly good at, that you know, man, this is, it gives me energy, it drives the business forward. Do more of that and try to find everything to replace yourself in that drives the business forward and drains your energy, and to delegate that drains your energy and doesn't drive the business forward. The purpose we usually have in this phase is, man, I want consistent income, right? We're kind of like boom and bust income to get to this spot in the entrepreneur journey, but now it's like, I want consistent income. I really need consistency here. Okay, that's really what we're looking for. The vision tends to be, like I mentioned before, you escaped that thing that you're running away from. You escaped the job that you didn't like. You escaped the income ceiling that was holding you back. You escaped people saying you weren't capable of doing these things. You escaped whatever that motivation was that you're running away from. But now what a lot of people do, and this is 2 to 3 years into the business usually, is we don't move towards the motivation being moving towards something. Okay, and when we don't have the motivation of the thing chasing us from behind that we're trying to escape, then we get lost, we get listless. You might be this way. Pop in the comments box if you're on YouTube, if this is the way that you're feeling. Okay, so we need to find purpose here. We need to move towards purpose. And for me, that purpose in that phase of growing Carrot, through that million is I really want to build a business that truly changes the way people think about customer support, the way that people truly think about how a business should be in this industry, in the real estate investor space. I'm like, that's our mission right now. That's my purpose. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to make this industry better. I'm going to make this industry better. And I think this business can make me better along the way, right? And so that's the vision. You want to start to move towards purpose. Now start to find the people that you want to serve and start to write down, how do I want to serve these people? Okay. So the next thing now to move from 300K to $1 million is we need to have some sort of strategy, right? And so I'm moving through the entrepreneur freedom formula. Now I moved from the purpose part. Now I'm moving over to consistent income. So our strategy in this phase, from to get to 100,000 to 300,000, we're really needing to master our market, right? One market, one deal type, one marketing message. Master that market. That'll get you to 300,000. But now we need to go, there's got to be multiple types of things. You either have to add on another strategy usually here, maybe not another product here yet. The other product is probably somewhere between 3 and 5 million a year in revenue. But you need to start to build out even further how you're going to serve people. It could be another marketing channel is going to get you to $1 million. Okay. It's going to be usually a little bit tricky in most markets to be able to one market, one product, one marketing channel get you over $1 million. But it is possible, especially if it's an amazing product in a single market that's large. But oftentimes you got to add your second marketing channel and or a second market. Now let's talk about the marketing side of things. What I like to do now here, like what I talked about before, is you need to start to stack your marketing channels. Okay, so that one marketing channel probably got you to 300,000, maybe 500,000, maybe even 600,000 or 700,000 a year. But as things start to slow down on the lead generation side, you start to stack the second channel. Okay, is it a paid channel now that you're going to add, or is it search engine optimization, or is it direct mail? But take what was working that first channel and now stack a second channel. I'll do a whole nother video here on my channel called Elephant Curves that talks about the importance of layering on marketing channels and products as you go to keep your growth happening. But right now, this is where you layer on that second marketing channel. And the leverage, like where do you get leverage now in your business? There's a lot of ways you can get leverage. You can get leverage with making sure you have follow-up in place. You can get leverage with hiring an agency to do that second channel. There's a lot of ways you can get leverage, but the leverage piece I have in my business growth levels at this phase is we need to join a mastermind or create a mastermind to get around like-minded peers who are looking to do something similar, okay? This phase, this is one of the things that's been one of the biggest value adds for me in my life over the years. Back in 2000, it would have been 2009, me and my former business partner, Patrick Riddle, who I mentioned before, in 2012, I got burnt out. I sold him my half of that company, and then I started Carrot about 1.5 to 2 years later, and that became our multiple 8-figure year company, 5-time Inc. 5,000 fastest growing company list, one of the top 10 most philanthropic small businesses in the state of Oregon. There's a bunch of accolades, right? That came in part because we formed a mastermind. We didn't have the money to spend $20,000 to join a mastermind, but what we did was we said, let's surround ourselves with some people who we like, who are smart, who are going places, who have a similar level of motivation, who are better at some things than we are, but we're better than them, and we can all feed into each other. And we created this group that we still meet today. Well over 15 years later, we meet every single year. It's a core of about 7 or 8 of us. Our spouses now come, and we always cap it at 15, and we invite some other new people in. So we have an amazing time. We use it as a way to get together once a year. We do travel to amazing locations like Jackson Hole, Wyoming, or all over the place, okay? And that's been an amazing thing that's really helped, because oftentimes as a performer, there's a lot of things that we don't know, right? There's a lot of things we don't know. And we need to be able to get these ideas and also have accountability and inspiration from others who are a little bit better than us or a lot of bit better than us at some other things. Around this time is also when I did my first real paid mastermind. I joined Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels mastermind, his Inner Circle mastermind, for $25,000 a year. And during this phase as well, I really started to get that first real coach, right over $1 million. We'll talk about coaches here a little bit later. Okay, so leverage, you get your extra leverage by having the mastermind, creating it, joining one, where now your idea can amplify times 10 because other people are going to feed into you, showing you ways that you don't know yet on how to amplify your business. Right now, we're going to move into the time and energy bucket. So we've got clear on why we're doing what we're doing. We've got clear on the strategy and the marketing and how to add leverage and get more consistent profits. And now we usually get busy again. We get busy again as we fly through the Entrepreneur Freedom Formula. And now we're like, I'm working long hours again. Things are starting to work. Things are starting to pile up again. Now I need to get my time and energy back again. Okay. And with this is really where I really highly suggest you prioritize, if you have not already, rest and exercise. Rest and exercise. Okay, I've got a process that I call my momentum meter. And if you ever feel stuck and you feel burnt out, it's usually because we're only going into distraction and then busy work, distraction, busy work, distraction, busy work. And we did a lot of things that week, but we're going, damn, I feel like I did a million things. I'm out of energy, but I don't feel like I got anything done. That's because you're stuck in the distraction and busy work part of the momentum meter. And to really pull it up and get to the spot where you can crack through that next business cycle, you need to rest, you need to get that body moving, and you need to really build that energy back up, get your brain clear, okay? So yeah, during this phase, you definitely need to take the energy out of it and write down the things that are draining your energy work-wise and life-wise. So not saying that just getting rest and physical activity is the only thing that's going to solve it. Take the energy out of it and write down all the things that drain your energy, all the things that give you energy. Circle the top 2 or so that are draining the most energy. Write down how many hours a week it's draining. And then that's your very first things that you go delegate or replace yourself in. Okay, I'm going to have training videos in this YouTube channel that show you how to do all that stuff. But rest and physical is going to be key here. Now, what process are you usually going to be putting in place to help you grow through the 300K to $1 million? It's really your marketing and sales process at this point. Okay, so it's learning how to continue to drive the things that drive the business. The marketing channels that are working, start to document how they're working so other people can start to take some of those on. The sales process that's working during this phase, if you are the salesperson, you're probably going to need to hire another salesperson at this point. And so document what's working on sales, record some of those sales videos or sales calls that are working. Document what you say on the intro, document what questions you ask that person, document how you close it, what is the offer, and all that stuff. Because at this phase, to get up over $1 million, usually you as the founder are the salesperson. Now we need to replicate ourselves so you can then do what you do best, do what you perform at. For me, it was marketing. I'm a really good salesperson too, but marketing is what drove the business. So I delegated that, brought in a person to take on sales while I could then drive marketing. Okay. And you need to choose yours. If yours is marketing, great, delegate marketing effectively so you can take on more sales if you still have the capacity to take all that on. And the last part, y'all, is what is it that we are actually delegating? And you're going to delegate all the things that drain your energy and make you money. Like I said, that's the main thing. It's called replacement. It's in the DRIP matrix: delegate, replace, invest, and produce. This is the phase where we really focus on delegation and replacing ourselves in the things that drain our energy and make us money. So guys, that's the 300K to $1 million mark. Hopefully you've found yourself kind of in that. If you are in the 300K to $1 million mark, this gives you a little bit of a path. Hopefully it gives you hope. Hopefully it gives you some insight to go, oh my gosh, I'm experiencing those things, Trevor. It's like, I thought it was just me. And no, it's not just you. It's literally a map. I can talk to people and ask you what pain points you're going for, ask you how long you've been in business. And 90% of the time, I can pretty much give you a range of where your revenue probably is. And that's actually a freeing thing, y'all. That's a crazy freeing thing, because when you know that what you're going through isn't fully unique. Now, every little experience stacked together, yeah, those are unique for you. But the phase of business, it's normal. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're having a hard time delegating, if you're having a hard time making time for hobbies and rest and physical activity and your family and friends again, if you're struggling because revenue hit a ceiling and you don't know how to delegate the sales side or the marketing side or whatever, guys, it's normal. You're in amazing company. Okay, so there should be a link below, or go to trevormock.com/freedom. Get access to the business growth levels and my entrepreneur freedom formula. And if this is something that you want help with, I launched a coaching program called Epic. I don't do this YouTube channel because of that. I cap it off. It's usually full, but if you ever wanted to check it out, if this was something that could help you, just go to carrot.com/epic. That's carrot.com/epic, and you can learn more about it. But y'all, Hit subscribe if you're liking these. The next episode is going to be about the $1 million to $3 million level. And I'm going to go in detail exactly what you're likely experiencing and how you grow through that level as well. All right, guys, hit subscribe here. Hit subscribe on the podcast. If you're on the podcast and you haven't made it over to the YouTube channel, I'm showing graphics over there, and it's a produced video now. It's not just Trevor Truck Talks in my truck. This is exactly where you can access the video side of it. To go to YouTube. If you're on YouTube and you want this on the go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcasts, download the podcast so you can listen to it on the go, and share with a friend, y'all. Share this with 2-3 friends. I'll give you this call to action. Think of the 2 entrepreneurs that you know of who would benefit the most from being able to have a map that's going to help them build that business freedom and impact, and share this episode with them, or share the episode that is most relevant to their income level with them today. All right, guys, have an amazing rest of the week. We'll see you on the next episode.